The Cubs here at Shea to face the fourth-place Mets and the second-place Cardinals playing at home against Montreal. Stay with us for all the excitement coming your way in a moment.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by Budweiser, Beechwood aged for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. Your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Better Buick dealers. The great American road belongs to Buick. True Value Hardware. For quality selection and personal attention, make True Value Hardware your store of first choice. The Chicago Tribune, where you'll always get the freshest sports. Unical 76, who invite you to go with the spirit of 76. Pepsi, a generation ahead. Canon, proud to be the official camera of the Chicago Cubs. United Airlines, rededicated to giving you the service you deserve. Come fly the friendly skies. And Nissan, building cars for people who want more than just a means of getting from here to there. Nissan, built for the human race.
Stadium, where the Cubs open a two-game series against the New York Mets. The Cubs first, the Mets fourth.
Rick Sutcliffe, who's had a couple of tough outings, going against Dave Cohn, who's 8-1 in this ballpark this year. And Dave Johnson, the manager, had a long talk with Darryl Strawberry. Harry, he wants him to be a leader, but I don't know if they can be made.
You know, if there ever was a ball game when you wanted your big pay pitcher to come through and pitch a great game, it's tonight. They really need vintage Sutcliffe if they're to beat the Mets.
The Mets are down. They lost 3 in a row at San Francisco. However, they have the best record in the National League at home. The Cubs have the best record in the majors on the road, so it should be some matchup.
And we'll have the lineups for you coming up now in a moment. Hello again, everybody, with Dwayne Stats and Steve Stone and Harry Carey from Shea Stadium. Jerome Walton stepping in the batter's box. We'll give you the lineups in a moment as you look at Don Zimmer sitting in the Cub dugout. Here's Walton hitting .307. 5 homers, 40 runs batted in. He's hit well against the Mets, 12 out of 30. David Cohn on the mound. First pitch is a strike call. Cohn is 8-1 at Shea Stadium this year. In his lifetime, he's 21-5 games he's pitched here. Fouls it back. Here the Cubs lineup: Walton, Sandberg, Smith, Grace, Dawson, Salazar, Dunston, Rona, and Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe has won 13, lost 11. 0-2 the count. Took him out on 3 pitches. He threw the fastball by Jerome Walton. 1 out.
David Cohn has got a blazing fastball. He also has a hard slider and will drop from the side against right-hand hitters.
There's the Mets lineup. Cohn has won 12, lost 6. Earned run average 3.53. Jerry Crawford, the plate umpire. Charlie Williams at first, John McSherry at second, Joe West at third. Here's Sandberg. Fastball a little bit high. Ball 1. Sandberg has had 1 homer against the Mets this year. 12 out of 38 against the pitching staff. There's a long drive way back. It might be out here. It could be. It is! His career high. 27th home run of the year for Ryne Sandberg. And the Cubs are out in front 1-0. And True Value Hardware happily donates another $100 to Cubs Care in the fight against cancer. And way to get him started, Rhino.
The 18th home run given up by David Cone. Rhino now has 27 home runs, 65 RBIs. He got a hold of a high fastball and took it out to left field.
Here now is Dwight Smith, the 27th home run of the year, the most he's ever hit. He was going to bunt the pitches inside and low, ball one. Dwight Smith batting .295. He's been a red-hot hitter against the Mets. 13 out of 26. There's a high pop fly, short left. McReynolds is there. He's got it. 2 gone. Dwight Smith hop to McReynolds in short left.
Let's take a look at Ryan Sandberg getting a hold of a high fastball. And the Chicago Tribune round-trip replay shows a home run went around 370 feet to left field, and Rhino appeared to know it was gone when it left the bat.
So Sutcliffe has a 1-0 lead. Here's Mark Grace hitting .318 for the year. Her ball low and inside. Grace has hit a homer against the Mets previously. 7 out of 26 against their pitching. Fouled it back. Grace hitting .318 for the year. 13 homers, 67 runs batted in. Fastball outside. Ball 2.
David Cone got off to a rocky start this year, but he's won 9 of his last 10 decisions, and last time out against L.A., he went the distance, giving up just 4 hits.
He had a good cup and fouled it back. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Yankees won their 5th in a row, beating California 2-1 today. The Tigers down Kansas City 5-1. 2-2 pitch. Fouled it into the stand.
What a great trade this was for the New York Mets. David Cone coming over here from Kansas City along with Chris Jellick for Ed Hearn, Rick Anderson, and Mauro Gazzo.
Who?
He's now doing very well for Toronto, Harry. Mauro Gazzo.
There's ball 3 low. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The only guy of the 3 who's done anything at all, and he's not doing it for Kansas City. Again, he fouls it back. 3-2.
Frank Cashin, the general manager, along with Al Harrison, who ably assists him, always insists on a pitcher in a deal, whether he's a throw-in or the major part of the deal, and he got a good one in David Cone.
Again, he fouls it back, making him work. There's Frank Cashin.
Al Harrison sitting to his right. That's the brain trust in the inner office of the New York Mets.
Does that include the 9-year-old boy?
I think so, yes.
3 balls, 2 strikes. He walked him. Ball 4, and here's Andre Dawson. Grace gets a base on balls. Boy, they're here from all over town, and Dolores Favorite from South Holland, Illinois. And Diane Phillip and Frank Niemak on their honeymoon are here. A group of 60 here from Skokie, the high-rent suburb of Chicago. That's where Arnie lived. Here's Dawson. He had a cut and he missed it.
Over the last 2.5 weeks, Andre Dawson is hitting .386, and it couldn't come at a better time as far as the Cubs are concerned. He means to the Cubs what Darryl Strawberry means to the Mets. Strawberry having a subpar year. One of the reasons why the Mets are struggling to this point. However, this is a very talented group trying to get things together and make a run at it.
The pitch. Curve ball low. They're playing the U.S. Open tennis tournament just about 5 minutes from here. So New York, a beehive of activity in sports. There's a side on third. Caught the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. 1 run in, a home run by Ryan Sandberg.
That's one of the best pitches for David Cone. He will drop down to the right-handers, but occasionally he leaves it over the inner portion, and that's a pitch that you can drive.
The pitch. He swung. What happened?
He's out. He kicked the ball in fair territory.
He's arguing about it. He kicked the ball, but Jerry Crawford says he's out on strike. Well, this inning is over. One hit. One run. One man left. The argument rages on. Don Zimmer has come in. Andre Dawson wants Crawford to ask one of the other umpires if they saw it. I think he claimed that he foul tipped the ball and then kicked it. All right, we go into the bottom of the first. The Cubs lead 1-0. Carry back at Shea Stadium. And that bridge is the White Stone Bridge. It was built 50 years ago for the World's Fair here. And this is its 50th birthday. Here's Greg Jeffries to lead it off, hitting .243, 4 homers, 40 RBIs, 14 out of 51 against Cubs pitching this year. Breaking ball outside, ball 1.
That's how they'll line up defensively behind Rick Sutcliffe. Don Zimmer had a long talk with Sutcliffe after his last start, and apparently he's going to work a little faster.
Down the pitch. Good fastball. That evens it up, a ball on the strike.
Rick is making his 29th start of the year. It's his 3rd time out against the Mets, and he's 9-8 lifetime with a .387 ERA against them.
Fastball is high. Ball 2 balls and the strike. Tony Trabert, the former great tennis player, now commentator, handling him tennis tournament with Pat Summerall. Here's a high fly ball, should be caught, and it is. Dwight Smith.
Sutcliffe has been hit hard by the Mets this year. He's 1-1. The ERA 7.10. He's made 2 previous starts. Juan Samuel's been a disappointment to the Mets. He's played a terrible center field for them. They gave up Len Dykstra.
The pitch to Samuel. Curveball in there, a strike call. Tony Trabert is from Cincinnati and was asking about Don Zimmer. A good friend of Don's. Very happy to hear the Cubs are doing well. There's a drive way back is Dawson. He has it. That ball was well creamed, and Dawson ran to the warning track out there. 2 gone.
You can look for Rick Sutcliffe to start off hitters more with a breaking ball tonight. One of the things that Don Zimmer talked to Sutcliffe about was the days of throwing the fastball by people on strike 1 and strike 2 are gone. He's got to use the breaking ball to set up his fastball, and he started out both hitters, Jeffries and Samuel, with curveballs.
There's Dave Johnson, manager of the Mets. 2 out. Here's what a year this guy's having. Only the 3rd player in baseball history to be a member of the 30 and 30 club twice during his career. Better than 30 stolen bases and better than 30 home runs.
He set a career high this year in stolen bases, and he's got a lot of pop from both sides of the plate, but particularly as a left-hand hitter.
Fastball inside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
26 of his 32 home runs have come as a left-hand hitter, and he was one of the 8 free agents the Mets had. They've signed 4 of them, but as Al Harrison has said, Howard Johnson was the big guy to sign, and they've got him for 3 more years, and very happy that they have.
2 balls, no strikes. The delivery. He had a cut at a high fastball. They're here from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. David and Julie Farmer on their honeymoon. 2 balls and the strike. 2 out. Ground ball hit down to Sandberg. He's got it over the first. 1, 2, 3. At the end of 1, the Cubs lead 1-0. Salazar leads it off in the 2nd inning. A curveball is in there, strike call. 1-0 on Ryan Sandberg's 27th home run of the year.
Whatever Don Zimmer said to Rick Sutcliffe, it must have worked, because you just witnessed the fastest inning he's pitched in the last 5 years.
There's a curveball in there, a beauty. And this Cone, David Cone, has a fine curveball as well as a good fastball. 0-2 the count.
He's 37 and 15 lifetimes, so Cone has great stuff.
Right over my head. Come on out from under the counter. I'll protect you, Steve.
Well, after watching 2 hours of tennis today, you should be ready.
Yeah.
How was the tennis playing?
Very good, very good. I saw Chang get upset. Here's a pitch a little bit outside. Set up there with Pat Summerall and Tony Trabert, Frank Charkanian. Brent Musburger's here at the ball game tonight. Here's a high pop foul out of play along with his son, Scott. Handsome young man. Peggy Naraki from Oak Forest celebrating her 39th birthday here today. Fouled it back.
Dave Cone has pitched twice against the Cubs this year, and the first time the Cubs pounded him. The Cubs beat the Mets 15-3 at Wrigley Field on June 5th. Cone went just 2 innings, gave up 5 hits and 7 earned runs. They cut him for 4 earned runs the next time, also at Wrigley Field.
The bouncing ball, he's got a chance to beat it out. And it's a fair ball for an infield hit. Let's see now, the bat flew out to the mound. It didn't hit David Cone. He flipped it to the bat boy.
I think this is a poor decision by Howard Johnson. It looks like this ball has a chance to go foul, but there's no chance for Johnson to get Salazar. If he was confident that Elster would have been backing him up, he could have let that ball go, but he decided not to take any chances on a double. And Salazar is in with his 5th hit in the last 3 games.
Here's Sean Dunston, who's hit a homer against the Mets earlier this year. He's hitting .270 for the season. He had a tough series in Atlanta. There's a good fastball. Lysa and Jim Whittington from Chicago are here. So's Max Fisher from Evanston.
Salazar with adequate speed at first, but not good speed. He's stolen a base this year in 4 attempts.
The pitch to Sean. He had a good cut, but he fouls it back. It's 0-2. At St. Louis, Montreal, nothing. St. Louis, nothing. Martinez against De Leon in the bottom of the 3rd. They're here from Duluth, Minnesota. Cindy Karen in the group. Whoa, he changed up on his curveball. A terrible pitch. And Sean Dunston chased it and struck out.
David Cone's going to be tough on Sean Dunston tonight because of that big breaking ball. If he gets ahead, he's going to wipe him out on a pitch just like the last one. And Rick Rona getting a lot of playing time in consecutive games.
Donna Sisk is here from Morris, Illinois. 1 out, 1 on, 1-0 Cubs. He swings at a high fastball, fouls it back. The Dodgers beat Houston in Houston today, 7-5. Atlanta leads San Diego 4-3 in the 6th. One strike and nothing, 1 out. Salazar lead. They throw over there. Keith Hernandez, the first baseman.
Keith is a great first baseman. They've got a great shortstop in Elster. A little shaky defensively at 2nd and 3rd. The Mets have made 120 errors this year, which is a high number.
There goes Salazar. Swung on a base hit. It'll shine left field. Here's Salazar going all the way to 3rd, and he makes it. Perfectly executed hit and run with the runner Salazar breaking a tough pitch to hit. Rick Rona threw his bat at the ball and guided it right to the just vacated shortstop position in the short left.
The more you see of Rick Rona, the more you've got to like him. This is a very difficult at bat for him. With the runner going, a terrible pitch, but he had to protect Salazar. He knows he doesn't have great speed. And Elster going to cover, left the shortstop area vacated, and I don't think Rona could have thrown it any better.
And now here is Rick Sutcliffe. The infield is playing halfway at short and second, in at 1st and 3rd. Let's see what Sutcliffe can do here. Fastball a high. He shortened up as if to bunt. It would have been the safety squeeze instead of the suicide. The runner did not break for the plate. 1 ball, no strikes.
Sutcliffe is a good bunter with 10 sacrifices this year.
Low and inside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Jerome Walton would be next.
I'd like to see him take a swing here. You know he's going to get a fastball 2-0. And Rick is a pretty decent hitter.
2 balls, no strikes. Cone ready. The delivery. He had a good cut, but he missed. 2 balls and a strike, 1 out.
The arm in the outfield belongs to Darryl Strawberry in right field. However, Kevin McReynolds is very accurate in left. I got a converted second baseman in Juan Samuel in center who's shown great speed. However, he's been pretty ineffective in center field.
He bunts, but he bunts foul with a squeeze on. Both runners are breaking. Rona was heading for second and Salazar heading for the plate, but Sutcliffe fouled the ball.
Anytime this happens, the catcher is exposed on a foul tip. You can see Lyons start to get up, and he caught that one right off the corner of the mask. That shook him up.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Runners first and third. He had a good cut and he fouled it back. A high fastball. There, and from Largo, Florida, Paula Jones.
David Cone is a strikeout pitcher. He's averaged close to 8.5 strikeouts per 9 innings.
2-2 pitch. He struck him out. And that's his 4th strikeout already. 2 in each inning. And that brings up Jerome Walton, who struck out on 3 straight pitches to start the game.
Walton always looking for the bunt. I think Howard Johnson just went over to talk to David Cone about that eventuality. You got Keith Hernandez, a great fielding first baseman, holding Rona close, and they're going to play tight at the corners for Walton.
Now ready. Curve over the outside corner. He's thrown Walton 4 pitches. All have been strikes. The first 3 struck him out in the first. And now in the second, the first one he gets is a strike 1 call. Whoa! Right in his head. That's a purpose pitch there, I think.
Looked like it went behind him. Jerome Walton ducking down. This ball goes on the other side. Barry Lyons does a great job of stopping this ball from going to the screen.
Babyface David Cone, only 26 years old, an established fine pitcher now. Oh, man, he missed. Boy, he's been just buzzing the ball right by Jerome.
He's made 11 wild pitches this year, most of them probably coming on that sharp-breaking curveball.
The crowd is alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Struck him out again. Boy, a sidearm curveball that came from the side, and Walton goes down swinging, and the Cubs waste a good opportunity. We go in the bottom of the second, 1-0 Chicago. Harry Carey back at Chase Stadium. We go in the bottom of the second, and Darryl Strawberry with a count of ball 1. Takes it low, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. He got a great hand from the crowd. 1-0 in favor of the Cubs. 2 balls, no strikes. The pitch swung and he missed.
Bill Robinson, the hitting instructor, talking with Darryl Strawberry. He said he didn't talk about mechanics at all. He talked about his head and the fact that he's got to concentrate a little bit more and keep his head in the game.
Now the pitch, a little bit low. Lawrence Batiste from the south side of Chicago here with the group. 3 balls and the strike. Ground ball, base hit. And Strawberry starts the second with a ground ball single to right.
We've seen the Cubs hurt on this road trip on 3-1, 2-0 pitches. You fall behind these hitters, you have to come to them with a fastball, and that's when they're most dangerous. And Darryl Strawberry, despite the fact that his batting average is way down at 227 coming in, still a very dangerous hitter.
Here's Kevin McReynolds. He's hit well against the Cubs all year. 13 hits, 40 times at bat with 3 home runs. Overall, he's got 18. There's a curveball and there's a strike ball. 18 homers, 71 RBI. Hitting .274. Good lead by Strawberry. Throw to first, runner back.
McReynolds has deceptive speed for a big man. He's stolen 15 bases this year. He's grounded into 7 double plays.
Hey! Ball. He committed a ball. And Sutcliffe. Charlie Williams says he balked.
6th balk of the year charged to Rick Sutcliffe, and what he's saying is he moved the leg before going to first. It was a pretty good move by Sutcliffe. He never set himself, but Charlie Williams picked it up right away. And now the Cubs out of a double play situation. And we'll take a look at it one more time. That didn't look like a balk.
There's McReynolds now. No balls, 1 strike, the tying run at second base, nobody out. He tried to bunt. Bunted foul. 0-2 the count.
That shows you what Davy Johnson thinks about his offense at this point of the year. They've averaged just a little over 2.5 runs per game the past 2 weeks. And so with a good hitter up at McReynolds, he decides to lay down the bunt, move along Strawberry.
2 transplanted fans, Bob Jern and Steve Bircher from Chicago are here. 0-2 on McReynolds. Fastball low. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Strawberry, the runner at second. Whoa, a wild one getting away. There goes Strawberry down to third base. And they say he did not swing at the ball. A wild pitch for Sutcliffe, who's made quite a few of them.
That's his 11th wild pitch of the year. And starting the inning in a double play situation, a balk and a wild pitch, and Darryl Strawberry's at third.
Boy, oh boy. A harmless little single might as well have been a triple. Strawberry's on third with nobody out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, he's trying to score. The throw. Then he goes back. Strawberry changed his mind. I wish he'd have kept coming. Rona pounced on the ball and threw to Sutcliffe.
Strawberry would have been dead to rights if he'd have continued coming home. Rona had 1 play. That's a flip to Sutcliffe. Strawberry was able to get back in time.
Now the count is 3-2. From 0-2, he's down to 3-2. Don't give him a fastball. There's a high fly ball. Now watch the play at the plate. Walt makes the catch. He won't try to score. It's a short center field, and Strawberry very wisely held on at third base.
The Mets know that the Cubs have a good thrower in center field in Jerome Walton. He's one of the best throwing center fielders. In fact, all 3 outfielders for the Cubs throw better than average. With a great arm in right field in Andre Dawson, probably an underrated arm in left field in Dwight Smith.
The infield now comes in. Here's Hernandez hitting .238. 3 homers, 16 RBI.
He's struggling of late. He returned to the Mets on July 13th after spending 4 days at the A level.
The curveball is inside. 1 ball, no strike.
Keith said that his knee is still sore. He had a broken kneecap. That's what put him on the shelf. He's not 100%. But Dave Johnson wants him in there every day, despite the fact Dave Magadan is hitting 60 points higher than Hernandez.
Ball 2. Barry Lyons, the catcher, would be next. 2 balls, no strike. Hernandez. Infield in. Ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes, 1 out.
Looks to me like he's pitching around Keith Hernandez. He's got a double play target up in Barry Lyons in the on-deck circle.
Time called. Hernandez stepping out of the batter's box. 3 balls, no strike. Montreal has taken the lead at St. Louis 1-0. Still batting in the 4th. Struck. Swung and missed. And now the count is 3-1 with 3 balls, no strikes. Hernandez had a healthy cut but missed.
Rick Sutcliffe knew he had the green light and he threw him a curveball. 3-0. That's quite a pitch.
He walked him, ball 4. Well, now he's got a double play possibility. Barry Lyons. Lyons is bounced into 2 double plays. 7 double plays make that. The infield drops back.
Lyons hitting .245 is getting the big share of the catching duties. Gary Carter hitting just .174. He's playing a couple times a week.
The pitch. Curveball, a little bit outside. Salazar playing deep at third base. Mark Grace has to hold a runner on. Hernandez. The pitch. They jammed him with a fastball and he fouled it back.
Keith Hernandez does not run very well. You don't have to worry about him stealing. He's 0 for 3 this year in the stolen base department. So odds are he won't get down to second base quickly enough to break up 2 if Sutcliffe can get the ground ball.
Kevin Elster is next, and he's a red-hot hitter. And so's our pitcher, David Cohn, hitting .258 for the year with 16 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike. He swung and he missed. Boy, this is where he really, really needs a strikeout. Or a pop-up. Or a ground ball at somebody that might go for the double play to get him out of the inning. One ball, 2 strikes. Just missed outside. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to throw the curveball, but he's got to be careful because more times than not, that big breaking ball winds up in the dirt. A very fast man at third in Strawberry, so Roan has got his work cut out for him today.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul ball outside third base. We jammed him again. He hit it off his fist.
I think he broke his bat on that one. Got the fastball inside right on the thumbs. Barry Lyons going back to get a new bat, and Sutcliffe's made some pretty good pitches to him.
The Lions is still up there with a count of 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runners at first and third, 1 out. Strawberry at third, Hernandez at first.
Cubs had the same situation in the second inning, only with Rick Sutcliffe up. They failed to score and a couple of strikeouts by David Cohn.
Ball 3, a fastball was low. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Now you'll see what kind of a gambler Dave Johnson is. See if he sends Hernandez.
3-2. The pitch. Fake to third and whirl the throw at first. He does that at least 3 or 4 times during a game. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Base hit. The run is in. Another man's got a chance to score. He's going to hold up at third base. Barry Lyons hit a hanging curveball on the line in the left field for a double.
RBI number 22 for Barry Lyons, who is the best hitting of the Met catchers at this point. 3-2 breaking ball, but Sutcliffe gets it out over the middle of the plate. A good piece of hitting by Lyons. Hernandez was indeed going on the pitch, but he doesn't have much speed, and he can't score.
So the game is tied up 1-1. And here is Kevin Elster.
Elster has raised his batting average from 200 to its current 238 by hitting 297 over the past month and a half. So he has been hot.
They're going to pitch to him with runners at second and third. He's also got 8 home runs. The pitch. A little bit inside. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Thing about walking Elster to get to the pitcher, David Cohn, is a good hitting pitcher. 16 out of 62 for the year. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes.
What's happened to Sutcliffe this inning is what's happened to him the last 3 starts. He started to fall behind. In the first inning, he challenged the hitters, got ahead with the breaking ball. But this inning, he's had a lot of long counts.
2 balls, no strikes. Almost hit him, ball 3. 3 balls, no strikes. David Cohn, the pitcher's next. Now they're going to walk Elster intentionally to fill the bases. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. The game is tied 1-1. Cohn, a switch hitter.
He can also bunt. He's got 6 sacrifices this year. But odds are in this situation he'll be swinging away. You don't have a fast man at third. You have a force out at the plate.
One out, bases loaded. 1-1 tie. The pitch. He swung. He tried to check it, but he's gone around for strike 1. He questions the umpire, Jerry Crawford. And Crawford convinces him he swung. 0-1 the count. Hernandez, a runner at third. Bouncing ball, the run will score. Out at second base, and at third, the run will not score. The ball was not hit hard. Cohn does not run it all well. And from Dunston to Sandberg to Grace, we get out of the inning with only 1 run, all tied up at the end of 2.
I'm a man who likes to have some fun. So every day I make sure I have me some. I root for the team that makes you stand up and sing. And I go for the beer that's known as the king. I'm a Cub fan and a Bud man. I'm a Cub fan
The '89 Cubs are brought to you in part by Pepsi-Cola General Bottlers of Chicago. Pepsi, a generation ahead.
Sean Dunston gets rid of the ball quickly, and that's what enabled the Cubs to turn a pair and get out of the inning. And for that inning double play, Carex helps with the brakes on cancer with a $50 contribution to Cubs Care.
We go to the top of the third, and here's Ryan Sandberg, who's responsible for the one up on the scoreboard for the Cubs. He homered his 27th homer of the year in the first.
He's got 65 RBIs, and he's working on his 65th consecutive errorless game.
The outfield plays him straight away in the fifth. Fastball a little bit inside for ball one.
David Cone had a brilliant year last year for New York. He went 20-3, the ERA 2.22, and he completed 8 games. He can pitch.
He's the fourth 20-game winner that the Mets have had. Ryan Sandberg, ball two. Ball three is high. 3 balls, no strikes. Montreal leading at St. Louis. 1-0 in the top of the fifth.
The Mets activated Dwight Gooden, and he's pitching in some simulated games, and they say he's throwing with no pain, and he looks pretty good.
Ball 4 on 4 pitches. Sandberg gets a base on ball. That's the second man that Cone has walked. There's Dwight Gooden.
I think one of the reasons why they activated him so soon was to give a psychological lift to the ball club. Also, they certainly want him eligible for the playoffs. And as Al Harrison said, if they can get into the playoffs somehow, the trio of David Cone, Dwight Gooden, and Frank Viola might be tough enough to beat anybody in baseball.
There's a throw to first, a runner back. Dwight Smith flat out his first time up.
It's not a bad idea for Dwight Smith to lay one down here, preferably up the right side.
He had a cut and he missed it. 1 strike and nothing. Boy, look at that. Atlanta. They're knocking off San Diego tonight in Atlanta. 8-3 in the 7th. San Diego's been on a charge. Outside, ball 1, and the count evens up. Sandberg has stolen 13 bases, been thrown out 5 times.
Lyons has got a quick delivery, but he doesn't have a great arm. The Mets have trouble in that department.
Ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
Now you might see Don Zimmer try some motion. With Sandberg going, he is a good base runner. Dwight Smith will need a little contact if the hit and run is on.
Smith has hit 3 homers against the Mets this year. Line drive, base hit into right field. And the runners are on at first and second. Dwight Smith rifled one. Runners at first and second, nobody out. And here's Mark Gray.
Dwight Smith gets a fastball down. It might have been out of the strike zone, but Smith gets ahead of the bat through the strike zone quickly and drives it into right. Rhino was not going, and he has to hold at second.
Now, earlier this year, with runners at first and second, frequently Don Zimmer will get the runners moving. They hit and run. Grace walked his first time up. Grace hitting .382 over his last 14 games. Into the dirt. They give him a new baseball. If it gets a little bit of a blemish on it, you must have an absolutely clean baseball to throw.
There's a lot of guys that would love to throw a scuffed up baseball, Harry. In fact, some of them do.
Swung and he fouls it back.
Good speed on the bases for the Cubs with Sandberg at second and Dwight Smith at first. The Cubs want to put as much pressure as they can on Dave Cone early. like so many pitchers, if you don't get him early in the ball game, generally you don't get him.
1 ball, 1 strike. The ball gets away, the runners advance. I don't know whether that's a wild pitch or whether a pass ball. It seemed to go right under Barry Lines' mitt. Whether it hit the ground will decide whether it's a wild pitch.
Looked like a pass ball to me as we take another look at it. Well,
did hit
probably
the
a
dirt.
wild pitch, but Lyons did not get down to block it. That's something Gary Carter does so well. But they're giving up a little defense, certainly for a man who can produce a little offense, as we saw last inning.
Boy, the Plains are really flying tonight. 2 balls and a strike on Grace. Ball 3 high. 3 balls and a strike. Nobody out. Runners at second and third. Game tied up at 1. We're in the top of the 3rd inning.
Mets are going to concede the run at this point. Right side of the infield, very deep for Grace.
Ground ball, and here's a man trying to score. Sandberg is cut down. The runners are going to wind up at second and third anyway. Heads-up play by Keith Hernandez. The ball was hit sharply enough. He knew he could get the man at the plate. But by staying in the hot box, Sandberg gave the runners an opportunity to advance to second and third.
Goes 3-2, 5-2, and the ball is hit right on the button. Unfortunately for the Cubs, Keith Hernandez right there, and he gets the big hop and decides to come home. And this is the reason why they want Keith Hernandez at first base and not Dave Magadan, despite the 60-point difference in the batting average. Good heads-up base running by Sandberg, who keeps it alive long enough to move up Mark Grace into second base.
I think they're going to walk Dawson intentionally here. Well, no, let's see. Yeah, they're going to walk him. Yeah. You see the catcher Lyons holding his hand out there. 1 ball, no strikes. The bases will be loaded with only 1 out, and Luis Salazar, who singled his first time up, will be the hitter. And the Cubs have an opportunity at an inning. Cardinals batting in the bottom of the 5th. Montreal leads 1-0. Here we're tied 1-1. So the bases are loaded. Come on, Luis.
Third baseman, Luis Salazar.
Salazar's been a good hitter since coming to the Cubs, and one of the reasons why they got him was to shore up the offense, give a little defense, because he is a good third baseman. And he's been in the lineup now for 3 straight days, so Don Zimmer enjoying the participation of Luis Salazar, giving him a lot of playing time.
The infield playing back for the double play. Strike up fastball. Salazar batting .400 since joining the Cubs. Bases loaded, 1 out. Infield back. Swung and he missed. 0-2. Sean Dunston will be next. He fooled him with a curveball that time.
Cubs let David Cone off the hook last inning, and they can't do it again. They don't get many shots at this guy.
0-2 the count. High outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Montreal batting in the 6th at St. Louis, still leading 1-0. Martinez against De Leon. High pop fly, he swung at a high pitch. Salazar popped to the shortstop Elster. The pitch was very, very high. Watch it.
Up and out of the strike zone, and Salazar got jammed on the pitch. So the infield fly roll. Cubs have had a number of shots, haven't been able to cash in yet.
They've had 7 men on base in the first 3 innings. They've got 1 run. That was a home run by Sandberg. Here's Dunston. A little tap. He might beat it out. It's the other one scored. He did beat it out as Hojo charged the ball. I'm sure that Dunston would have beaten it out even had he fielded it cleanly. And so a run is scored, and the Cubs are out in front again, 2-1.
Johnson might have had a play at the plate had he fielded this ball cleanly, but he's not in the lineup because of his defense. He's in his lineup because of the offense, and he comes in with a bare hand pickup. Very difficult play, and it goes as a base hit, and for Dunston, his 48th RBI of the year.
So Dwight Smith scores the run that puts the Cubs ahead. And here now is Rick Rona. He got a scratch hit his first time at bat. Bases loaded, 2 out. 2-1 Cubs. Oh, boy, we have more guys that chase that high fastball. Law, Salazar, Rona. They're all fellas that swing at high pitches that are ball. 0-1 the count. Low and outside. Rona hit his first major league home run Saturday in Atlanta.
Looks like to see another one right here.
I'd just like to see a hit. I'd be happy to see a base hit. 1 ball, 1 strike. There it is. High, tight fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
He's going to have to get to the point. With so many scouts in the stands now because of the pennant races, it becomes obvious if he keeps swinging high fastballs, that's what he's going to see.
1 ball, 2 strikes. High and inside, 2-2. Let's pause quickly for identification.
You're watching Cubs baseball on WGN, Chicago's very own Channel 9.
The bases are loaded. 2-1 Cubs. Rona the hitter, 2-2 the count. He fouled it back. He had a good cut at that fastball. 2-2.
Cubs have made David Cone work very hard in the early going.
An infield hit by Sean Dunston drove in his 48th run of the year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 3, and now they'll all be running on this one. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Make it be a strike, Rick.
Big advantage to the Cubs because it pretty much takes the force out away at second base.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, bases loaded. The pitch. Here it is. Line drive, base hit, 1 run in. Another runner's going to score. 2 runs in. 3 runs total in the inning, and the Cubs lead 4-1.
And how about Rick Rona picking up RBI 8 and 9, and look at that dugout. Nobody has to tell anybody down there how important this ball game is, and Rick Rona, who spent a good portion of this year with the Cubs and then went back to the minor leagues, comes up with a clutch base hit, driving the ball back through the middle on a 3-2 pitch. It's a high fastball, but Cone made a mistake. He got it out over the plate, and Rona makes him pay the price.
And so Dunston races to third. Rona now has 9 runs batted in. Here's Sutcliffe. Swung and he missed it. A 2-run single by Rick Rona. They're dancing in the streets in his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now ready, 0-1. He fouled it back. You know, Rona's home run came in the first inning Saturday night in Atlanta with 2 men on. It turned what had been a 3-run first inning into a 6-run first inning. There's a pitch way outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. This is the 8th man to bat in the inning. Cubs lead 4-1. There's Yosh sitting on the bench. The pitch struck him out. So the Cubs get 3. They forge into the lead 4-1 as we go into the bottom of the 3rd. Harry Carey and Steve Stone. Here's Greg Jeffries to lead it off in the bottom of the 3rd. The Cubs out in front, 4-1. Out hit the Mets, 6 hits to 2.
Jeffries moved to the top spot in the batting order, and since he's done that, he's started to come alive.
There's a curveball, a little bit outside. What the Cubs want to do, beat the Mets tonight, and have Montreal beat St. Louis in one day. There's a drive in the right field base hit. Jeffries singles sharply to right.
The Mets traded away Len Dykstra and Mookie Wilson. That took away their leadoff hitters, and nobody was stepping up. They tried Juan Samuel, but he strikes out too much to lead off. So Dave Johnson, out of necessity, put Greg Jeffries at the top of the order. And Bill Robinson, the hitting instructor, talked to him about being more patient. Now he's drawing bases on balls and getting more pitches to hit.
Sutcliffe has had trouble his last couple of starts. The pitch. The base hit in the left field. Here's Jeffries holding up at second.
Just before the pitch, Luis Salazar moved over a little bit into the hole between himself and Sean Dunston. And just about the time he took 2 steps to his left, Samuel rifled the ball right by him. That was a first ball fastball to a fastball hitter. And I think Don Zimmer's going out and talking to Sutcliffe. He talked to him about first ball fastballs, but especially to Juan Samuel, who notoriously does not hit the breaking ball. He got a first ball fastball and drove it down the line.
Boy, he didn't have, whatever he had to say didn't take long. I think he only said about 3 words. Runners are on at first and second, and here is Howard Johnson. 35 stolen bases, 32 home runs, 84 RBI.
He does not hit a straight change very well, and he has some problems with the breaking ball. He's spanned 98 times this year. Sutcliffe has got to stay away from fastballs, middle of the plate out.
Fastball, a little bit outside. Johnson's only grounded in a 3 double play. 1 ball, no strikes. Runners are on at first and second. Jeffries at second. Samuel at first. Cubs lead 4-1. Ball 2. Sutcliffe, in each of his last 2 starts, has been knocked out in the 4th inning. He pitched 3+ innings in Atlanta, 3+ innings against Houston. Both games he lost, his last 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Way outside. 3 balls, no activity in the bullpen, but they better get somebody ready pretty soon. They got the power in their batting order. Johnson, Strawberry, and McReynolds coming up in that order. 3-0. There's a strike over the outside corner, and that was a fastball. But it was not to Howard Johnson's liking. I'm sure he had the hitting privilege, but he was looking for the ball in a certain zone. He knows the zone he hits, like any good hitter, like any good power hitter does. 3-1. There's a high fly ball that's going to be caught by Dawson. He hit that there. He didn't get it on the trademark. It kind of about midway up the bat.
Sutcliffe took a little something off the fastball here. 3-1, he's got to throw a strike, and he turns it over just enough to fool Howard Johnson, who doesn't get much into the swing. But Rick is not out of the woods yet with Darryl Strawberry out.
Strawberry signaled his first time up.
Strawberry said he's not a natural leader because he's not a rah-rah guy, but he told Dave Johnson that he would do everything he could to perk up this ball club. And they still feel that Darryl Strawberry is the key to the offense for the Mets.
He's hit the 4 double plays this year. When he first came up, he was very fast. He's still fast, but not quite as fast as he used to be. Fastball low and away. Strawberry 5th in the National League with his 27 homers this year. He's hit 2 against the Cubs during the course of the season.
He hits off a raised front foot, and he says that helps him with his rhythm.
A high pop foul out of play into the stands. Strawberry has had 5 hits against the Cubs this year. 2 of them have been home runs.
He's one of the few guys that can hit the ball out any part of the field. Ball away, and he can take it out to left center field or hit it straight away, and he hits it as far as anybody in the game.
1 ball, 1 strike. Straw steps out of the batter's box. Fouled it off. He's ahead of him now. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another tough hitter next, Kevin McReynolds, who's hit 3 home runs against the Cubs this year and has hit their pitching staff very well.
Darryl was fanned 90 times, and if Sutcliffe can throw that breaking ball low and in and break it down around the shoe tops, he can get him.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Did he go around? No. All evened up 2-2.
Good stop by Rick Rona. He tried to break that ball low and in. A little too low for the liking of Darryl Strawberry.
Isn't Strawberry known as a low ball hitter?
Low fastball hitter, Harry.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
Like most hitters, he likes to get his arms out.
Boy, oh boy, they must sure be flying a lot of mail to Chicago tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Base hit. Foul ball, foul ball, foul ball. Wow. Man, that ball really sliced. He hit it hard. And Rona goes out to talk to Sutcliffe.
Darryl Strawberry hits this ball out over the plate, and it hooks just on the other side of the line.
Wow, look at that.
A break for the Cubs and a break for Rick Sutcliffe. He got that ball out away from Strawberry. That's not where he wants to keep it. If he is going to go to the fastball, he wants to throw it right at the belt on the inside corner. Darryl Strawberry hangs right over the plate.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Ball 3 again into the dirt. You know, Bernie Tebbis knew what he was talking about when he said baseball is a game of inches. Strawberry's line drive, Mark Grace leaped, couldn't reach it. Grace was in fair territory, but the ball wound up on the foul side of the line by about 3 inches. 3-2, big pitch. Dunson was trying to maneuver behind Greg Jeffries. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He whirled. The runners are holding on. I would imagine they'd hold those runners on rather than run them. Strawberry doesn't hit in that many double plays. 3-2. He walked in ball 4. from 1 ball and 2 strikes to Walkingham. And that's a third base on ball by Sutcliffe.
McReynolds in a situation with Strawberry at third and nobody out in the second inning. A little pop-up to Jerome Walton. He's grounded into 7 double plays this year, and Sutcliffe needs a ground ball.
And that means he better throw him curveball. Bases loaded. 1 out. Low and outside. Kevin McReynolds hit a grand slam Wednesday. His third as a Met. One of them was against the Cubs. They get the force out at second base. 1 run scored. That ball was really crushed. It was deflected by the Louis Salazar over to Sean Dunston, who got a force play at second base on Strawberry. A run across the plate. The Cubs lead now 4-2.
RBI 72, and the Cubs get a break. This ball could have bounded anywhere, and Salazar stayed in front of it. They could only get the 1 out.
So give Salazar an assist on the play. 5-6-4 on the force out. And Jeffrey crossed the plate. 4-2 now. Boy, if Sutcliffe could get out of this inning, still leading 4-2, it would be a fortuitous development. Here is Hernandez. First pitch outside.
He tried to work himself back into shape at St. Lucie, which is A ball in the Florida State League. He played 4 games down there. Didn't hit the ball particularly well and hasn't hit it well since coming back to the Mets. But he's one of the leaders on this club.
Over the outside corner, strike call, the breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out, 1 in. 4-2 in favor of the Cubs.
McReynolds has swiped 15 bases this year. He's got deceptive speed.
Throw over to first. Montreal leading at St. Louis 1-0. Bottom of the 6th. St. Louis batting. Come on, you Expos. And come on, you Cubs. There's a pitch high. If Montreal could beat St. Louis and the Cubs defeat the Mets, their lead would have doubled in 1 day, from a 1.5 games ahead to 3 ahead.
Only 2.5 ahead.
It was a foul tip. A foul strike. That's a break.
They'd only be 2.5 ahead of St. Louis.
That's right. It would be their original lead.
But it certainly would be a lot more comfortable than that precarious 1 up in the loss column.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Whoa, if he'd have whirled and thrown to first, he had him.
And the play would have worked for the first time in about 4 months. But Rick Sutcliffe, who usually does that without making a throw to first, didn't see McReynolds break a third of the way off the bag. He'd have had him at first base easily.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Dwayne will come over after this inning to throw to first. 4-2 Cubs lead. The Mets with runners at first and third. 2 out. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Missed outside. 3-2. McReynolds will be breaking on the pitch. Sam Wells, a runner at third. Hey, Walker. Still nobody warming up in the bullpen. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 hits, 2 walks this inning. And here is Barry Lyons. Steve Wilson is starting to limber up in the bullpen.
The Mets originally drafted Barry Lyons in the 15th round of the '82 free agent draft, so he wasn't highly thought of at that point. Worked his way up through the system, didn't expect to get much playing time this year, but Gary Carter went down early, and Lyons has played in a lot of games.
Lions drove in their first run in the 2nd inning to tie up the ball game. Bouncing foul outside third. Boy, what a break we got on McReynolds' smash. Boy, he hit a rocket that deflected from Salazar to Dunston, who fired to Ryan Sandberg, getting a force out. 0-1 the count. Fouled it out of play into the stand. Now he's ahead of him. 0-2.
Davy Johnson, because of injuries, has been forced to shuttle his lineup. In fact, so much so that he's used 103 different lineups this year in 135 games coming into this one. It's been a tough year for him. A lot of pressure here in New York. They don't accept anything else but championships here, and Davy Johnson has won more games than anybody in the National League over the last 5 years. But it doesn't seem to matter on a year-to-year basis.
No balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing ball, we ought to be out of the inning, and on. So they got only 1 out of all that. Harry Carey from Shea Stadium. We're at the end of 3. The Cubs 4, the Mets 2.
On to the 4th inning from Shea Stadium. The Cubs are out in front 4-2 with Steve Stone and our producer-director Artie Harris. This is Dwayne Stats. And I'll tell you, through 3 innings, we've had a heck of a ball game so far.
A lot of action, almost a game of action so far in the early going. Both pitchers have thrown a lot of pitches, and you wonder how long both of them are going to be able to go in this one.
The Cubs will have the top of the batting order. Jerome Walton leading off against Cone. He goes after the first one and lifts a popper foul. That's going to be out of play for a strike. Walton has struck out twice against Cone so far tonight. And actually, Steve, neither pitcher has been very sharp. Sutcliffe struggling, and Cone, who showed signs of having pretty good stuff in the 2nd inning, struggled through the 3rd. Walton takes a strike. Jerome's had a tough time with him tonight.
For whatever reason, Dave Cone has saved his best pitches for Jerome Walton. And then he throws one behind his head, which is never too good for a young hitter.
And he is out on strikes for the 3rd straight time. He has seen only 10 pitches from Cone, 9 of them strikes.
And the 10th behind his head. So maybe that has something to do with the fact that he's not getting real good swings at David Cone. But the man who is getting good swings at him is Rick Rona, who really battled him in the 3rd inning and came up with a clutch 2 RBI base hit.
This guy put a pretty good swing on him in the 1st inning. Ryan Sandberg, who belted his 27th home run. Ryan takes a breaking ball for a strike.
St. Louis has scored 2 runs against Montreal and has now taken the lead in the bottom of the 6th. It's 2-1. The Cardinals over Montreal.
That's Dennis Martinez against Jose De Leon. The count is now a ball and a strike on Ryan Sandberg. The Cubs have 4 runs, 6 hits. Cone has walked 3 and has struck out 6. The Mets have 2 runs, 4 hits. Sandberg reaching, taking a little something off that time. Cone has a real good hard breaking ball, and when he takes something off, makes him all the more effective. The 1-2. That evens it. 2-2.
Usually when he goes to wipe out a right-hand hitter in a strikeout situation, he will drop down from the side. And then he tries to keep the ball away in that situation.
He goes 3-2 there. 1 out, bases empty. Cubs led 1-0 on Sandberg's first inning home run. Mets tied it with a run in the second. Cubs 3 in the third, and the Mets 1 in their third. Breaking ball, a dandy. A 3-2 breaking ball for a strike 3 call. And there's not much you're going to do about that.
That might have been the best of the night for Dave Cone. He buckled the knees of Ryan Sandberg. Jerry Crawford rang him up. Take a look at this one.
You talk a beauty of a curve. That's it.
You can look at the legs of Sandberg, realizing he's got no chance on this one. And now St. Louis has added another run to their lead.
Dwight Smith, meanwhile, takes the first pitch for a ball. He's hitting .500 off New York pitching this year, 14 out of 28. 1 for 2 tonight. He came into the ball game hitting .295. There's a strike. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. If you get a lead on Cone in this ballpark, you'd better keep it, because he's tough here. He's ahead of Dwight Smith, 1 ball, 2 strikes. His lifetime record at Shea Stadium is 21-5, 8-1 this year. The 1-2. Smith started to go, held up. Lyons was so confident that he had gone. Lyons was walking toward the dugout before Joe West gave a ruling on the appeal. So the count goes to 2-2. There's a fly ball, right center. Strawberry on the run, can't get it. Extra bases. Now off the glove of Samuel, and Smith's going to dig for 3, and he will make it. So Smith, who on the previous pitch just checked in time, comes up with an extra base hit in between Strawberry and Samuel.
Strawberry did not play this ball very well, and he has not had a good year in right field. It looks like he's going to make this play. He comes across, he's got great speed, and he just doesn't catch up to it. Instead of rounding it off, it looked like he charged straight at the ball, and the ball fooled him. So Dwight Smith taking advantage of a miscue in the outfield, and he's on his way for 3.
Now Mark Grace is up there. Boy, this would be a big run to pick up as Grace takes a strike. Grace walked in the first, reached on a fielder's choice his last time. The count is now a ball and a strike. Not only, Steve, have they been concerned about Strawberry's play in right field, but they've been a little disappointed in Samuel's play in center field. The pitch is high, so it goes to 2-1. They don't feel he's gotten a jump on a number of fly balls that they expected him to catch.
He's trying to make the conversion from second base to the outfield, and it hasn't been very smooth for him.
High fly ball to center. Samuel makes the catch on this one to retire the side. No runs, a hit. 1 left, bottom of the 4th coming. 4-2 Cubs. Kevin Elster opening the bottom of the 4th inning. He's the number 8 hitter in the New York lineup. Cubs leading 4-2. A ball, no strikes, the count. And Sutcliffe falls behind 2-0. Elster has come a long way to get that average up to 238. He's at right at 300 for about the last month and a half.
He's a great glove man, and now he's starting to swing the bat like they thought he could swing it.
Who gets under this one and lifts a high pop fly toward the line. Dunston out there, and Sean makes the catch in front of Dwight Smith.
Sean Dunston, one of the few guys that wants to take everything, and that's a tough play for a shortstop. Usually they give way to the outfielder, who has a routine play on this pop-up, but Dunston, in his hometown, decides that he wants to show the home folks that he can rebound, and he takes it away from Dwight Smith.
I'll tell you, he covers so much ground in short left and down that left field line. I really can't think of many other shortstops who cover the ground he covers. Here's David Cone. He takes a strike.
Or who want the ball like Sean Dunston. Every pop-up that goes up, he thinks it belongs to him, which is a good attitude to have if you have his speed.
There's a strike. Remember the kid in Sandlot Ball who did that? Nobody liked him.
That's right.
He wanted to catch everything.
Well, it was usually his ball. That's why. It's my ball. I'm taking everything I can.
Cone is out on strikes, and that's the first strikeout recorded by Rick Sutcliffe. In this case, however, they will gladly defer to Dunston. And I'll tell you, most of the time, Sean gets there before anybody else. So he's got a right to the ball, I guess, from that perspective. Although on that last play, as you pointed out, the left fielder has a better angle on that ball. That's more or less a routine play for the left fielder. Here's Jeffries taking a strike.
Bill Robinson tried to impress upon Greg Jeffries. Coming up in the top of the order, you have to look over some pitches, and that's helped him as a hitter.
This one low. He's hit safely in 15 out of 17 in that leadoff spot.
Well, earlier in the year, he was over anxious, swinging at everything, making a lot of first pitch outs, and that's something they didn't want him to do, but he was really pressing.
Foul ball. It bounces up and hits him in the back.
Everybody conceded the Rookie of the Year to Greg Jeffries, and everybody thought that he was going to be the same hitter that hit over 300 and set the league on fire last year. He believed his press clippings, and things didn't work out very well for him. Now he's starting to settle down, relax a little bit, and he's become a pretty good hitter.
Line drive into right center for a base hit. Walton up with the ball. Relax may be the key word there, because he's intense when it comes to baseball.
Jeffries' father was his hitting instructor, and Bill Robinson had to have a talk with him when he went out to the West Coast on the first trip and say, look, he's a major leaguer now. I'm the hitting instructor. We both have the same goal, and that's to make Jeffries the best hitter he can be. But we can't keep pulling in different directions. And I think his father deferred a little bit, and Jeffries has started to come alive.
Juan Samuel takes a strike. He's 1 out of 2 tonight. Came into the game hitting .240 for the year. With that hit tonight, .241. Cubs are leading 4-2, and they've out-hit the Mets 7-5. Jeffries back in. Sutcliffe struggled through the second and third innings. Has gotten the first 2 outs in the fourth. Jeffries has singled off him.
The Mets will flat out tell you that Juan Samuel has been a disappointment to their ball club this year, both offensively and defensively. When you give up Len Dykstra and Roger McDowell, you expect a man that's going to come on and hit some home runs, play some defense for you. That hasn't been the case with Samuel. He couldn't hit in the leadoff spot. Now maybe he'll produce a number 2 spot for Dave Johnson.
Johnson has certainly juggled the lineup this year. 103 different lineups, as he's trying to accommodate all the injuries they've had, and at the same time trying to generate some offense. Pitch out. Samuel has a count of 1-1. Jeffries started to move and stopped on the pitch out.
I think he read the pitch out. I think he saw Rona shift his weight and realized that he was running into the pitch out and went back. Jeffries, who's stolen 15 bases and been caught 6 times, has pretty good speed.
He's going. Now he stops, and Samuel is hit by the pitch. Samuel hit by a pitch. Well, that's the first one of those we've seen tonight. We've seen about everything else, and Zimmer's on his way to the mound because that sets up runners at first and second with 2 outs for Howard Johnson, and all of a sudden the Mets have the go-ahead run at the plate.
That's the last thing in the world you want to do, and I think he's talking to Rick Rona about the breaking ball to Juan Samuel. He continues to see fastball, fastball, fastball. And Juan Samuel is a man who's fanned 95 times this year, most of them on breaking balls. So Rick Sutcliffe, who's had problems with his control, faces his biggest challenge of the night in Howard Johnson.
Johnson has grounded out and flied out to right. He's among the top 10 of the league in hitting, second only to Kevin Mitchell in home runs. He has 32 home runs, and he has been the big hitter on this New York ball club this year. There's no question about that.
They spent all winter and early spring trying to trade Howard Johnson, and Al Harrison now readily admits that there's no way in the world you can get Johnson in a trade from this ball club. He means too much to him.
And Sutcliffe misses ball one.
He was talking about the configuration of the trade that was going to send Johnson to Seattle for Langston. And it was going to be Johnson, Fernandez, probably Aguilera, and Tapani. They wound up keeping both Fernandez and Johnson and made the deal for Frank Viola. They paid a lot less than they would have paid for Langston. And they got a man who's under contract for another 2 years. So it worked out well for the Mets.
1-0 the count. This one slicing toward the line. That's a fair ball and into the corner. Jeffrey scores. Samuel will score. That's a ground rule double. So they'll have to send Samuel back on the ground rule double. That ball bounced into the corner and up over the sidewall. So it's a ground rule double, and that helps the Cubs because they'll have to send Samuel back to third. Instead of this game being tied at 4, it's a 4-3 ball game. Here's another look. The slicing double by Howard Johnson.
Just inside the chalk line, and it's RBI number 85, and the Cubs do get a break. But that's what happens when you hit somebody, especially a right-hand hitter, a strikeout target ahead of Howard Johnson. Now you're forced to walk Darryl Strawberry and load him up. And once again, for the third time, you face Kevin McReynolds with the bases loaded.
So Darryl Strawberry will be intentionally walked. They'll have Samuel at third, Johnson at second. A 4-3 ball game. McReynolds up there now with the bases loaded. He has a run batted in tonight on a fielder's choice, officially 0 for 2. 72 runs batted in on the year. Howard Johnson driving in his 85th run with his 37th double. 4-3 Cubs. McReynolds hit a grand slam home run for the Mets on August the 30th, their first of the year. Again, he's up there with the bases loaded in this game and lines it up the left side. Foul ball. Just foul. And that saves the Cubs at least a couple more runs. Boy, I'll tell you. 4-3 ball game. And the Cubs are clinging to this one-run lead.
If they look at the board, they can't get any help, at least at this point, from Montreal. They're losing 4-1, and Sutcliffe on a first ball fastball sees this ball go just foul. That double by Howard Johnson is 37th, and that ties an all-time Met Club record.
1 strike to count. McReynolds fly ball to right, catchable for Dawson. Andre puts it away, and the Cubs get out of the inning with the lead. The Mets score 1. And at the end of 4, 4-3 Cubs. We're going into the 5th. Andre Dawson takes the first pitch, bouncing in, ball 1. 4-3. The Cubs are out in front.
The Mets have left 8 men on base through 4 innings.
Fly ball center. Samuel did not get a good jump on that ball, but he makes the catch. Samuel battled that one, but managed to make the grab.
It really goes to show you that it's not only speed in center field, it's the ability to adapt, and so far Juan Samuel doesn't have any instincts. Here's a man that spent a lot of years at second base. They felt with his abilities he could make the transition, but so far he has really struggled out there.
Here's Luis Salazar. Salazar is 1 out of 2 with an infield hit tonight. The breaking ball misses. It has been a struggle tonight for Rick Sutcliffe. This one down. Cubs jump to a 1-0 lead. Mets tied it Cubs led 4-1, now lead 4-3. The last 2 innings, the Mets have left the bases loaded against Sutcliffe.
A couple of very lucky breaks as far as Kevin McReynolds is concerned. He lined a ball right off Salazar and went to Dunston. The Mets only got 1 and then just missed on a drive down the line.
Salazar thought he'd drawn the walk, trying to coax it out of Crawford. Throws the bat away, but it's a strike. So the count is 3-1. Salazar's walked only 11 times this year, and 3 of those have been intentional walks. Trying to get one there.
This one better be well out of the strike zone if he's going to get one here. Jerry Crawford, not the most mild-tempered of umpires.
Now we have a full count. Cubs facing David Cone tonight. Cone is 12-6 on the year. 3-2 lifetime against the Cubs. The Cubs have beaten him twice already this year. Breaking ball. The bat goes to third. Salazar goes back to the dugout. He's out on strikes. Missing the breaking ball.
David Cone has got a dandy. He now has spanned 8 already. Are those cone heads?
That's a new variation on cone heads, if they are. 8 strikeouts. He's walked 3. Here's Sean Dunston. Good fastball. That's a strike.
David Cone said he couldn't figure out why he was struggling early in the year. He just said it must have been location because his arm has felt good and his stuff has been good all year.
He gets in on Dunston. This is Hernandez, and Hernandez beat him to the bag to retire the Cubs in order for the first time tonight. Bottom of the 5th coming. The score 4-3 Cubs. At Chase Stadium, set to move into the bottom of the 5th inning with the Cubs leading 4-3. Plate umpire Jerry Crawford having an equipment problem in the Cub dugout, so he's getting that squared away. Meanwhile, Montreal is batting in the top of the 8th inning, trailing the Cardinals 4-1.
Problems for Rick Sutcliffe tonight have revolved around the left-hand hitters. He's got to face Jeffries, Johnson, Strawberry, and Hernandez from the left side. The 4 left-hand hitters, along with David Cone, but you can't count him because he's the pitcher, have been on base 8 times today. So Sutcliffe having his difficulties with the left-handers. And if he doesn't get that straightened out, this club can give you a world of problems.
Hernandez with 2 bases on balls so far tonight. Takes ball 1. Hernandez coming off that injured kneecap. Since the All-Star game, he's hit just 164. 238 overall. He steps out. Hernandez, Lyons, and Elster do in the bottom of the 5th.
Sutcliffe had a 1-2-3 inning in the first, and since then, it's been the perils of Pauline.
A big chop for Sandberg. 1 gone. So he gets Hernandez to start the bottom of the 5th.
Mets have some problems as far as free agency is concerned, with at least 2 of the big names as free agents at the end of the year, Gary Carter and Keith Hernandez. There's a lot of people that figure that they will re-sign neither of those guys, and that would be big news here in New York.
And I think of the 2, if they sign one, they would probably lean toward signing Hernandez and maybe to a conditional contract along the lines of the one the Phillies had signed Mike Schmidt to. Barry Lyons, the catcher, is the hitter. Ball 1.
Well, I think this series and the previous series, since Hernandez has been healthy, shows you what Dave Johnson thinks of him, because Dave Magadan is hitting .290, and he's been a good hitter this year. But in the crunch, they want Hernandez and his glove at first base.
And a strike to Lyons, and now the count is 1-1. Birthday wishes to a great Cub fan, Carol Molinari. Looking in, rooting for the Cubs. Takes ball 2, 2-1.
The Mets brought up 8 players from their minor leagues to expand their roster, which is a high number for a team in contention. But none of them figure to see a whole lot of play here in September.
Hits it foul. Rona digging hard. Might have a play. Did he hang on? He did. The ball in the edge of the mitt. Rick Rona makes a fine play in front of the Cub dugout. He wasn't quite sure how close he was to that top step, and that can be a dangerous play. Let's take another look.
Fortunately, he'll get some help from the dugout here, and under the microscope of a pennant race, you have an opportunity to shine. And Rick Rona is certainly doing just that with his bat and now with his glove, and you can see right there he's got it. And guys, that's good camera work. He had him all the way, and he fortunately escaped injury.
Great catch by Rick Rona. The pitch to Elster is a strike. Well, Rona said after he hit his first big league home run the other night, as long as he gets a hit, he can call home and his mother will pay for all the phone charges. She'll give him his own calling card if he continues this kind of play.
Let's look at the reaction in the dugout.
Yeah, look at Don Zimmer.
The field goal was good, Zim. We're number one.
Great facial expressions on not only Zimmer but Rona. Did you see Rona down there? Elster starts to go on the breaker, but he holds. The count is 1 ball, 2 strikes. You talk about sweating out a ball game. Don Zimmer has done just that tonight with the Cubs holding a 1-run lead. Sutcliffe shooting for the corner, missed. The count squares.
This is actually pretty good for Zim's diet, because I know he's lost 10 pounds in anguish here tonight. He's looking very trim at this point of the season.
I'm just glad that his blood pressure's already dropped, because here on out it's going to really be tested. Liner into right center for Elster. Dawson with a pickup, a 2-out single for the New York shortstop. 7 hits now for New York.
Just about the time you thought you were going to get through a quick inning, Rick Sutcliffe gave up the base hit. The same thing happened last inning. He got 2 quick outs with Elster and Cone to the top of the order, and then the Mets made it mighty uncomfortable for the Red Baron.
Cone has grounded into a double play and struck out tonight, but he's a good hitting pitcher. 258 to start the contest. Ground ball for Dunston. He gets the force at second to retire the side. No runs, a hit, 1 left, through 5. 4-3 Cubs. With Steve Stone and Artie Harris and Harry Carey, Dwayne Stats from Shea Stadium, New York. We're through 5, on to the 6th. The Cubs are leading 4-3. Rick Rona is going to lead it off, with Rick Sutcliffe due to hit second in the inning. Marvell Wynn has moved into the on-deck circle. And Les Lancaster, who originally was scheduled to start tomorrow night, is warming up in the Cubs bullpen.
Don Zimmer looks like he's putting all his eggs in one basket, knowing how important this first game is.
And Rona takes a strike. Well, Zimmer's thinking about taking care of tonight first, and he'll worry about tomorrow when it gets here.
I assume it would be Steve Wilson if Les Lancaster does indeed come into the game, and it appears he's coming in. So he will lose his start.
Tap to third on a curveball. Johnson to Hernandez. So Rick Rona retired for the first time tonight. And now Marvell Wynn will pinch hit for Rick Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe listed after getting through 5 innings, and there's Lancaster in the bullpen.
Don Zimmer realized that the Mets were hitting the ball very hard against Rick Sutcliffe, and even though he got out of that inning, David Cone even hit the ball right on the nose. So he's going to go to Lancaster, and Wynn's going to come in hitting 249, 2 for 13 with an RBI as a pinch hitter, and almost hit the ball out of the park in Atlanta yesterday in a pinch hitting role.
He takes the ball. So Marvell Wynn hitting for Sutcliffe. 7 hits, 3 runs in 5 innings for Sutcliffe tonight. Fastball, and he throws it by him. A strikeout, 4 walks. One of those an intentional walk. He hit a man, threw a wild pitch, and was charged with a balk. So oops, he's hit by that pitch. So Wynn is hit by a pitch. be at first with 1 out.
The bouncing breaking ball, and even though it bounces into dirt first, you still go to first base. So Marvell Wynn aboard. And the Cubs certainly would like to put a little daylight between themselves and the Mets. This is a come-from-behind team, and nobody knows it better than Don Zimmer.
A man at first, 1 out in the 6th. And Walton, who has struck out all 3 times tonight, is up there. Wynn back in at first. Let's pause right here for station identification.
You're watching Cubs baseball on WGN, Chicago's very own Channel 9.
Walton up there, no count. A big chop. That's a base hit. That's going to go through. Wynn's going to dig for third. The throw is not in time. He got in there, and down to second goes Walton. Marvell Wynn with some aggressive base running on the chopper in the left. Goes from first to third, and Walton trails into second, and that could turn out to be a very big play in the scheme of things in this game.
There's no substitute for speed, and Marvell Wynn decides to gamble. Kevin McReynolds very aggressively comes in. He has to make an off-balance throw, and there's Chuck Cottier saying, stay down. Joe West with the call. They're coming right at you on the shot. And what a play as far as the Cubs are concerned.
Marvell Wynn got in there. Runners now at second and third with only 1 out. And Ryne Sandberg will be the hitter. The Mets forced to pull the infield in. That's the 8th Cub hit. They're looking for another big hit here. Sandberg got big cut, but he comes up empty.
That might be the one fastball that Rhino has to swing at. And more times than not, Cone has thrown that fastball up and out of the strike zone, only to find some anxious Cubs expanding that strike zone. I got to figure he's got to look at a breaking ball or two.
Sandberg pops it foul. That's going to be out of play. A hit batsman, Marvell Wynn, pinch hitting for Sutcliffe, hit on the foot. And Walton chopped a single into left. Wynn aggressively going to third, and on the play there, Walton follows into second.
I think that shows you a lot about Jerome Walton. I haven't seen anybody handle him as easily as Cone handled him 3 times, and he steps up, gets a first ball fastball, and a big base hit for the Cubs.
Cone misses. A ball, 2 strikes. Dwight Smith on deck. Smith has been a terror against New York pitching this year, including 2 for 3 tonight. Don Zimmer and Davy Johnson. Into the dirt. The ball skips away. Wynn started to come, but stops as Lyons recovers. And the count is 2-2.
Mets get a break. Lyons does a great job of saving this run. This is a breaking ball well out of the strike zone, and watch Lyons. He gets enough of a glove on it so that it doesn't roll too far by him. And to the credit of Marvell Wynn, he realizes he's got no shot to make it and goes back. You know, Dave Johnson hates intentional walks, and he's really going to be put to the test if they do get Rhino in this situation. What do you do with Dwight Smith? You got first base open. But Johnson has been on record saying that not too many good things happen when you walk a man intentionally.
2-2 the count. He got him. Sandberg called out on strikes. Cone dropped down a little bit. He got Sandberg looking on the 4th on a great breaking ball, and gets him looking again here in the 6th. 2 tough pitches from Cone to Sandberg when he had to make them.
He drops down. Sandberg thinks it's inside. This is a breaking ball that you have to take a swing at because it's on the inner portion of the plate. He just rung him up. That was not a good at bat.
Here's Dwight Smith. And Smith looks at a strike. Dwight 2 out of 3 tonight. Picked up his 4th triple of the year in the 4th inning. A little close. The count is 1-1. Cubs lead 4-3, and they have 2 men in scoring position. Speed on the bases. Wynn at third. Walton at second.
What a big base hit this would be if Dwight Smith Makes a little contact and hits it hard.
2 balls and a strike. Mark Grace on deck. Smith, the key hitter in the game. Foul. That's going to be out of play. Chased by Johnson, but he runs out of room. The count square at 2 balls, 2 strikes. St. Louis batting in the bottom of the 8th, leading Montreal 4-1.
St. Louis will follow the Cubs in here for 2 games, and they'll throw less than their best. Horton and Ted Power against the Mets.
Into the dirt, a wild pitch. Here comes a run in to score. Wynn crosses the plate, and over to third goes Walton. The Cubs pick up their 5th run. A pitch thrown into the dirt, the second wild pitch of the night, and the 13th of the year charged to Cone, and the Cubs pick up a run.
After the heroics by Barry Lyons on the Sandberg at bat, this one he couldn't come up with, and it's only a matter of time with Cone, who has thrown so many wild pitches this year, finally getting one that Lyons couldn't handle.
A pop-up by Smith, foul ball near the stands. Johnson has a play. And the Cubs are out in the 6th, but they pick up a run. 1 hit, a wild pitch helped, and they leave a man. Bottom of the 6th coming. 5-3 Cubs. Three ball game. Cubs out in front. Bottom of the 6th inning coming up. Rick Sutcliffe lifted, and Les Lancaster is the new Cubs pitcher. Lancaster, who was supposed to start tomorrow's game, instead comes in following Sutcliffe tonight.
There's one thing Don Zimmer is, it's unusual and unpredictable. He's using tomorrow night's starting pitcher in his 29th relief role of the year. Lancaster comes in at 3-1, a 1.18 ERA. He's got 5 saves, 45 2/3 innings, 38 hits, and 2 home runs. He's walked just 10, and he's fanned 36.
Top of the batting order, Jeffries takes a strike, showing the bunt. One thing about Zimmer, he's not going to sit back and let anybody take anything from him. He's going to try to do something, and he's doing it tonight, bringing Lancaster in. He got 5 innings out of Sutcliffe, and Sutcliffe really struggled. 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. He walked 5, 2 intentional walks, and he struck out 1. Ground ball for Sandberg. Over to Grace, 1 out in the 6th inning.
I applaud the move by Zim because you've got to win tonight. This is the big one because it's the only one you have, and there's a lot of guys who manage for tomorrow night's game only to lose the game you're playing tonight, and maybe you wind up getting blown out of the game tomorrow, and you got a 4-inning ball game at this point, and you got a 2-run lead, and this is the time to go for it.
There's a time when you might manage for tomorrow, but it's earlier in the season. Right now, counting this one, 26 games left. You got to manage for today. Ground ball for Dunston. Samuel is the 2nd out. Dunston to Grace. 2 up, 2 down in the 6th.
Dunston realizes when he's got to pour the ball over to first base and when he can just ease it over there. This is one of the times when you play a little shorter with Samuel going down the line, and you have to gut him out, and he did just that.
Here's Howard Johnson. Johnson doubled in a run, a ground rule double in the 4th inning. And fortunately for the Cubs, it turned out to be a ground rule double because it saved them a run. The game would have been tied at the time, 4-4. But because of the ground rule double, the Mets could only score 1 run instead of 2. And now the score is 5-3.
Cubs don't need any more excitement in an otherwise very exciting game. They'd like to make it mundane heading here on in.
Howard Johnson, high fly, short left, foul ball. Dunston there. He's got it, and that retires the side. And for the first time since the 1st inning, the Mets are up and down in order. We're through 6. Harry will be back in a moment with the Cubs leading 5-3.
Cubs baseball is brought to you in part by your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, Better Buick dealers.
Hello again, everybody. everybody, with Dwayne Stats and Steve Stone, Harry Carey, back at Shea Stadium where the Cubs are leading 5-3 going now into the top of the 7th. What did they do? Make a mistake? Put us on camera?
I think Arnie forgot. I don't know what happened. He gets excited in a ball game like this, and there has been a lot of excitement.
Mark Grace leading off. Takes a pitch in there. Cone is fanned 9 men. But he's losing 5-3.
How about the move by Don Zimmer using Lancaster, tomorrow night's starter in this ball game?
Who's going to pitch tomorrow night?
Got to be Steve Wilson, I believe.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's a drive in the right center field, way back. It's going to be caught by Strawberry. Grace flies deep to Strawberry. 1 out. Well, that'll show you the importance of this ball game.
There's no doubt about it. When you come in here and you only have 2 games against one of your competitors, you've got to win tonight. And Don Zimmer trying to take care of business as Darryl Strawberry puts one away before the warning track.
You'd think he went along that far with Sutcliffe because he wanted to get him the win. The pitch is a little bit outside here to Andre Dawson.
Harry, I don't believe that was a consideration. I think he didn't want to go to the bullpen that early because you know the struggles of the pen, and he finally made his decision to use Lancaster, and it's worked out well so far.
Boy, the Mets have had base runners all over the place. They've had 9 men stranded in the first 5 innings. Twice it left the bases loaded. And the Cubs had, I think Lady Luck may be a Cub fan because we've had our share of the breaks tonight.
Very big break, both times with Kevin McReynolds on the ground ball and then the line drive that just went foul. And McReynolds has hit 3 times with the bases loaded.
Now the pitch swung on, fouled out of play.
If Kevin McReynolds were a hot hitter tonight, the Cubs would be in trouble.
Well, how about Howard Johnson's double? The tying run would have been easily scoring, but it bounced into the stands, and the tying run had to go back to third.
Another break.
There's a high pop fly on the infield. Hernandez, 2 gone. That'll bring a Luis Salazar. I think he might be saying to himself, hey, those hitters didn't hit the ball as hard at me when I was in San Diego as they do here in New York against the Cubs.
Well, this isn't as fast as Atlanta as far as the infield is concerned, but the infield dirt very hard here, and the ball will take the high hops and skip through.
There's a pitch in there, Salazar. 1 out of 3.
Cubs battling the best team in the National League at home, the New York Mets. But the Cubs, the best team in baseball on the road.
There's a good fastball. Boy, this Cone is a fine-looking pitcher. Boy, how about Jack Clark? A homer with the bases loaded, another homer with 2 on. And San Diego leads Atlanta 10-9. There's a ground ball, sharply hit. Jeffries over to first. 1, 2, 3. We go in the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs lead 5-3. Harry Carey back at Chase Stadium, and here is Darryl Strawberry to lead it off. This is a key inning. They have Strawberry, McReynolds, and Hernandez. There's a fastball strike.
One thing you can usually count on from Les Lancaster is his ability to get the ball over the plate. He's done it consistently since being recalled in June.
Fouled out of play. Ball girl commits an error down the right field corner. The ball rolls away from her.
Les Lancaster's got to be about the most surprised man in the ballpark. The fact that he's in the ball game tonight. He was probably relaxing, looking forward to his start tomorrow. Suddenly finds himself in the 7th inning with a 2-run lead.
0-2 the count. Just a little bit inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Off Sutcliffe in 5 innings. Ball 2. The Mets had 7 hits, 5 walks, 1 hit batsman. And they left 9 men on base against them. Base hit, left field. Strawberry singles to left.
Apparently that talking to by Dave Johnson has lit a fire under Darryl Strawberry, which is something the Mets are going to have if they're going to continue to contend. He's been on base 4 times with a couple of hits and a couple of walks.
Here's McReynolds. He's 0 for 3. He hit a bullet at Salazar, which was deflected over to Dunston to turn into a 4th play in the 3rd. He flied out to right, leaving the bases loaded in the 4th. Thrown a good save. 1 ball, no strikes. Bottom of the 7th. He swings and he fouls it off. McReynolds has always hit damaging blows against the Cubs. He's hit 3 of his 18 homers against the Cub pitchers this year.
Reynolds goes about it very quietly. He's a man who shuns the spotlight here in New York, which is a media pressure cooker.
He swung and he missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's Don Zimmer. Next to him is Dick Pohl, the pitching coach. Cardinals leading Montreal 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th. Roll over to first. 46,049 paid here tonight. One ball, 2 strikes. A high pop foul out of play. McReynolds, an Arkansas boy.
He was drafted by San Diego despite the fact that he had a bad leg and had to sit out his first year of pro baseball. They took a gamble on him. The gamble paid off. They traded him for 4 New York Met players.
Fastball inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Keith Hernandez will be next. Quick throw, runner back.
Lancaster does not want to get that slider on the middle of the plate because the gap on the left side of the infield between Salazar guarding the line and Dunston playing McReynolds up the middle allows a big hole on the left side.
There's a drive in the deep center field on the run. Jerome Walton makes the catch. Nice play. That ball was well kissed. 1 out. That brings up Hernandez. He's walked twice and rolled out.
Jerome Walton has this ball all the way, measures it, and puts it away.
Barry Lyons will be next. Final, the Cardinals beat Montreal 4-1. So the Cubs need a victory to retain their 1.5 lead over St. Louis.
Hernandez does not run at all, not with the bad leg. So if he hits a ground ball, the Cubs will turn it.
1 ball, no strikes. Ball 2. 2 balls and nothing. Barry Lyons next. Where the lower portion of their batting order. 2 balls, no strike. Fouled out of play into the stands. Two balls and the strike.
Mets came limping home from that last road trip on the West Coast. They were swept by San Diego, swept the Dodgers, and lost 3 in a row to San Francisco, making them 3-6 on the trip. They usually have problems out there, but not that many problems.
Little wide, ball 3. 3 balls and the strike. Three balls and the strike. Foul ball outside third base. 3 balls, 2 strikes. The runner Strawberry was going with the pitch.
Hernandez does not fan often, and so Dave Johnson decided with a slow runner to try to stay out of the double play. He's likely to send Strawberry again.
Hernandez has hit 3 homers this year. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And now let's see. Don Zimmer comes out. He wants to make sure that Lancaster knows what Zim thinks he should do here.
A lot of trips to the mound tonight for Don Zimmer, showing you just how tense this ball game has been all night. Dave Johnson a little more quiet on the bench for the Mets.
Final game this year here at Shea Stadium tomorrow night. We'll be on a half hour later than 6:30 Chicago time tomorrow night. 3 balls, 2 strikes. There goes Strawberry. There's a fly ball, should be caught, and it will be. Jerome Walton is there. 2 away. Barry Lyons singled in their first run in the second.
I think it's going to be Dave
Tying up
Magadan.
the ball game and 1-1 after Sandberg had started the Cubs in the lead with a homer in the first.
Dave Magadan's going to pinch hit, and he's hitting .289. 3 for 16 with 3 RBIs as a pinch hitter. He's hit 4 home runs this year with 35 RBIs, and he's been a steady performer. They've played him all around, mostly first base when Hernandez went down. He's a good contact hitter without bona fide power.
Magadan. He started at the University of Alabama.
Jeff Innes warming up for the Mets.
University of Illinois boy. There's a fastball low.
Cubs shade Magadan a couple of steps into right center field, but he hits the ball all over. He's not getting a lot of playing time now that Keith Hernandez is back.
He's hit .278 against the Cubs pitching with 1 home run included. 11 out of 40. A little bit low outside. Behind him again. 2 balls, no strike. 2 out. Kevin Elster is next. Magadan represents a tying run. Cubs lead, it's 5-3. The Strawberry, the runner at first. Strike call over the outside corner.
Rick Rona's done a great job behind the plate tonight. Chipped in with a couple of base hits, blocked a few low pitches, and made an outstanding play right in front of the dugout on a pop-up.
2 balls and a strike. Fouled it back, and that evens it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Cubs leading by 2, 5-3. Doesn't strike out often. Two balls, 2 strikes. Steps out of the batter's box. There's a drive into left center field. Should be caught. Dwight Smith is there to retire the side. At the end of 7, the Cubs lead 5-3. Harry Carey and Steve Stone back at Shea Stadium. Gary Carter is now catching for the New York Mets. And Sean Dunston will lead it off here in the top of the 8th.
It's going to be the last inning for David Cohn. So the Cubs' last chance to try to get to him. He's due up second in the 8th inning.
Dunston is 1 out of 3 batted in the run with an infield roller. A high pop foul back. Come on out from behind the counter. I'll protect you, Steve.
That was closer to Dave Nelson in the radio booth. He was leaning over. That was a softly hit ball. He thought he could make the play. Shades of bygone years.
0-1 the count. Dunston playing before the home folk. He swung at a bad pitch. High and inside.
Cubs will face Sid Fernandez, the talented left-hander, tomorrow night. So not much of a break there.
Boy, he really chased a bad ball. Dunston is going back to the way he was hitting earlier, chasing those low curveballs and sliders way outside. 1 out.
Dave Cohn is tough to hit against if you're not going to swing at strikes, because he's got a good high fastball, and then he drops down from the side with a breaking ball, and if you don't make him throw strikes, he'll stay out there all night.
That's his 10th strikeout. Here's Rona, one of the stars for the Cubs tonight. Fastball low. His 2-run single in the 3rd. Gave the Cubs a little bit of a cushion, and they needed it. 1 ball, 1 strike. One ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Rick Rona out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. He started a swing. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1 man out. Gary Carter behind the plate. They've been using 3 catchers here. Carter, Lyons, and Sasser. 1 ball, 2 strikes. A little tap. Up with this Johnson to throw in time. 2 men out.
Johnson had some shoulder problems, had his shoulder worked on in the offseason. When he came out the beginning of this year, he was throwing a lot of balls away. But he's got a good, strong arm now and just made a fine off-balance throw.
Last time that Lancaster batted against the Mets, He won a ball game in the 12th with a double down the left field line. 2 out, nobody on. And that's the only hit he has. 1 out of 6. A high pop foul. Gary Carter near the backstop.
Can't make the play.
I think it hit the wall. I think Gary Carter was trying to press it against the wall if he could get his glove on it.
Gary Crawford back there to get a look. It bounces off the glove.
Curve in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 out. Struck him out. That's strikeout number 11 for David Cone. We go in the bottom of the 8th. Still the Cubs 5, the Mets 3. Harry Carey back at Shea Stadium. Here's Kevin Elster to lead it off. He's 1 out of 2 tonight. Fastball low and outside. This is the second time this year that David Cone has struck out as many as 11 men in 1 game. He did it earlier this year against San Francisco.
Mackie Sasser in the on-deck circle. He'll come on to pinch hit for David Cone.
There's a good fastball. Cone, 26 years old, out of Kansas City.
Randy Myers throwing in the bullpen. He's the stopper of the Mets. 22 saves this year. With the departure of Roger McDowell, all the chores fell to Randy Myers.
He swings. And he misses. Meyer has given up 4 home runs, and each one of them decided a ball game. One ball, 2 strikes. He struck him out. Elster goes down swinging. Mackie Sasser, a left-handed hitter, will bat for Cone.
Goes a fastball right by Elster. First strikeout for Lancaster, and Sasser comes on hitting .288. 4 for 13 with 5 RBIs as a pinch hitter this year, with a home run and 21 RBIs overall.
Sasser.
He's the 3rd catcher and will be used on a platoon system, but he does not receive very well. That's why he's used as a pinch hitter most of the time.
There's a fastball on the outside corner. Bill Bunce from Alaska and Elisa Fish Ground from Elizabeth, New Jersey, pulling for the Cubs. He pulled it foul, and Lancaster's ahead of him now on 2.
Lancaster took a little something off that fastball and had Sasser way out ahead of it. Might be able to turn over a sinker away from Sasser and get him. There's the numbers on David Cone.
A little bit outside. Cone struck out 11 in 8 innings. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The pitch to Sasser. He kind of changed up on him. He was way out in front.
That's the story as far as the Cubs are concerned. And the story as far as Dave Johnson is concerned. Lancaster can take a little more off that straight change. He can get Sasser. Looks like he's really geared up for the fastball.
1 ball, 2 strikes. On Mackie Sasser. A little bit inside, and that evens it up. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Greg Jeffries is next. 1 out, nobody on. Bouncing ball. Sandberg. 2 gone. This will be the 65th straight errorless game by Ryne Sandberg. Here's Greg Jeffries, 2 out of 4.
Mitch Williams getting ready to go in case Les Lancaster needs some help, but so far Lancaster has everything well in hand.
2 out, nobody on. That ought to be it. Sandberg, 1, 2, 3. At the end of 8, the Cubs still lead 5-3. Randy Myers will be the new pitcher. 5-3 in favor of the Cubs. We go into the 9th. Here's Jerome Walton. 1 out of 4.
There are the numbers on Myers, the hard-throwing left-hander, on for the 58th time with a 1.98 ERA and 22 saves. 73 strikeouts in 72 2/3 innings.
There's a pitch high to Jerome Walton. One ball, no strikes.
Cubs would like to put another one up on the board. Mitch Williams continues to throw in the bullpen, but Les Lancaster has sailed along through 3 innings, trying to preserve the 14th victory of Rick Sutcliffe.
Fastball is high. Randy Myers has converted 14 of his last 15 save opportunities. He has 22 saves. There's a strike call. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th for the Mets. It will be Samuel, Johnson, and Strawberry. And if anybody gets on, Kevin McReynolds. All 3.
Myers 6 feet tall, 6'1", 210 pounds, out of Vancouver, Washington. Last year had 26 saves for the Mets. The ERA was 1.72, so the league does not hit very well against him.
Ball 4, he walked him. So Jerome is on base twice tonight. A hit in the 6th, a base on balls here in the 9th after fanning the first 3 times up.
Gary Carter does not throw the ball particularly well. He's had problems all year. And Jerome Walton, a good base runner with 20 stolen bases. He's been caught 7 times.
Ryne Sandberg, who started the ball game with 1 out in the 1st with his 27th home run of the year, his career high. Good fastball. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, they're in the 6th tied up. All the other baseball in the National League is over except at Cincinnati, where the Reds lead the Giants 7-0. San Diego has a chance to pick up a full game on the Giants. They beat Atlanta 10-9.
They'll move 6 games back and in a tie with Houston for 2nd place.
High ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. There are the American League scores. Bucky Dent. New York Yankees won their 5th in a row. Detroit over Kansas City. Minnesota lost to Texas. They're tied at Chicago in a rain-delayed game. Baltimore is leading 4-3 at Baltimore against Cleveland. Ball outside. 2 balls and the strike. The Red Sox are leading in Oakland 2-0 at the end of 1. Two balls and a strike. There's a looper in his short right field, going to be caught by Strawberry. Sandberg popped to Strawberry and short right. 1 out.
Going to see a pinch hitter for Dwight Smith.
Doug DeCenzo coming out. DeCenzo will take over as a defensive move in the 9th. DeCenzo is batting for Dwight Smith. Smith had 2 out of 4 while he's in there.
First time Doug DeCenzo has pinch hit as a member of the Cubs. He's hitting 142 this year. And there's Zim talking to Sean Dunston. It was had a frustrating night at the bat, even though he has had a base hit.
Now ready? Fastball outside. DeCenzo is a switch hitter. Little guy, 5'8".
A little better hitter from the right side than he is from the left. And he's got to look him over carefully. One of his big problems as a member of the Cubs earlier this year was his inability to get a walk. If he's patient, he might get one here.
Five to 3. Cubs lead in an important game in New York. Only 25 more after tonight, fans. That's what the game's all about. Being in a pennant race. There's a pitch high.
I figure you've got to take a strike here if you're Doug DeCenzo. Walton should realize by this point that Myers doesn't have much of a move to first. And if he wants to take an extra step, he can probably do it. He is quick to home plate, trying to help Gary Carter if Walton decides to go.
Beginning tonight, the Cubs have 4 games remaining with the Mets. 3 after tonight. Swung and he missed. He may have swung at a high fastball. 2 balls and a strike.
Still can't understand the rationale. You got a man who's struggling with his control on the mound, a little guy up, and he swings 2-0.
A lead by Walton. Throws over to first. Boy, all these clubs are playing each other the rest of the way. The Cubs have, after tonight, 3 left with the Mets. 1 here tomorrow, the other 2 in Chicago next week. Ball. 3 balls and a strike. Cubs have 6 against the Expos, 3-3 home and away. The Pirates and the Cardinals, 3-3 home and away. And they play 4 with the Phillies. 2 later this week, and then 2 in Chicago. 3 balls and a strike. Ball 4, he walked him. So DeCenzo gets a base on balls. And here's Mark Grace, who's hitless tonight, 0 for 3.
Odds are he's going to get a first ball fastball with Myers struggling with his control. And Mark Grace is not intimidated by a left-hander on the mound, even though Myers is one of the hardest throwing left-handers around.
The Cubs with a victory will maintain their game-and-a-half lead over the Cardinals and increase their lead to 4 over Montreal and 4.5 over New York. Line drive in the left field. It may drop. It does. Goes all the way to the wall. 1 run in. Another man's going to score. Here goes Grace trying for third. He makes it. A triple down the left field line. Drives in 2 more. And now the Cubs have a cushion. They lead 7-3. And look at the mass exodus. Look at them, Arnie. Get the cameras on them. Everybody's leaving.
Mark Grace sending a lot of people home in New York with his 68th and 69th RBI of the year. He leads the ball club. He got the first ball fastball. The Cubs aren't going anywhere. They want to enjoy this. And he slices it away from McReynolds. A high fastball. Kevin McReynolds trying to make an impossible grab. Comes up a little short. Can't block it. And Mark Grace in for 3 bases.
And so Grace now has 68 and 69 runs batted in this year.
His 3rd triple of the year.
Infield in for the play at the plate as Andre Dawson takes the strike. 7-3 in favor of the Cubs. Well, I'm not going to say it, but I feel like relaxing now. The infield in, the pitch is inside. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 walks, and a 2-run triple by Mark Grace. Toronto leading the White Sox 2-0 in the 6th. Bouncing ball. Grace holds at third. And Dawson is thrown out at first. Here's Luis Salazar.
Third baseman, Luis Salazar.
7-3 in favor of the Cubs.
If this one holds up, the Cubs will have done something that only one other club's been able to do this year, and that's beat David Cone in his home park.
Well, I tell you, not only this year, but his career for his record during his career. He's won 21 while losing only 5 here at Shea Stadium. Tonight will mark his 6th defeat if it holds up. Yeah, just like L.A., they're all on their way home. Here's a pitch, a strike call. Luis Salazar, 1 out of 4 tonight. 7-3 Cubs. Low ball. 2 balls and the strike.
Don Zimmer got all he could out of Rick Sutcliffe, then made the surprising move of bringing tomorrow night's starter into the game in Les Lancaster, and Lancaster certainly has responded.
Ball wide, ball 3. 3 balls and the strike, and Randy Myers is having all kinds of trouble. He's already walked 2, but Grace tripled them all home, and our right-hander's out in the bullpen.
Jeff Innes.
A high pop foul. Gary Carter near the stands, out of play. 3-2. Let's pause for station identification.
You're watching Cubs baseball on WGN, Chicago's very own Channel 9.
Don Zimmer now talking to Rick Rona, the catcher.
He's got a lot of young players, and he's got to do a lot of instruction, realizing that it's going to help him down the road.
There's a drive, deep right center field, on the run, making a beautiful catch is Samuel. However, 2-run score on 1 hit. We go in the bottom of the 9th. The Cubs lead 7-3. Harry Carey back at Shea Stadium. DeCenzo's now playing left field for the Cubs. DeCenzo's in left field. Juan Samuel will lead it off for the Mets, who trail the Cubs 7-3. The Cubs, if they hold this lead, will have scored their 9th victory over the Mets this year. The Mets have won 6. There's only 3 games left. 1 more here, and then 2 in Chicago. Samuel, 1 out of 3. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Mitch Williams out in the bullpen. Strike call, a fastball. pop fly on the infield. Dunston calling for it. Makes the catch. Samuel pops out to Dunston. 2 more and it'll all be over.
Samuel.
Lancaster has pitched since the 6th inning. This is his 4th inning of work. He's allowed only 1 base runner.
Samuel taking a lot of heat here in New York. They traded away a couple of very popular players for him, and he has not responded, and he's hearing the boo birds.
Here now is Howard Johnson. Remember, tomorrow night we'll be on the air on Channel 9 at 6:30 Chicago time, as well as on our network. 1 out, nobody on. A high pop foul out of play. Boy, look at all the empty seats. There were over 47,000 here, 46,049 paid. Arnie's panning the crowd, and look at the seats.
A lot of Cub fans left, but that's about it.
The Cub fans are all here. 1 out. 0-2 the count on Hojo Johnson. He drove in a run with a double in the 4th. There's a drive. Looks like it's going to go foul, and it is. 0-2.
Cubs will move their record to 3-5 here against the Mets if this holds up. 9-6 overall. The only club in the division to have a winning record against the Cubs this year is Montreal. The Cubs 5-7 against the Expos with 6 games left.
One man out to Pitt. Fouled it out of play into the stands. You know, the Cubs are at home this weekend against St. Louis, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Think they'll be
and then
sellouts?
Montreal, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Few people going to see that series against St. Louis?
I think a few will. 0-2 the count. There's another drive, but it's foul again in the mezzanine section. This guy really, he can pump that ball out of here.
Russ probably wants to take a little something off. Either drop that slider over the outside corner or throw a change-up sinker away from Johnson, who's always geared up for the fastball and has much more power from the left side. 26 of his 32 home runs have come as a left-hand hitter. Now he's cracked his bat, so he's got to go back and get another one. Dave Johnson has seen his ball club struggle on the West Coast, was hoping coming back to his home park, where he's got the best record in the National League at home, would be just what his club needed. But so far, the pitching hasn't been up to snuff.
The Mets had 13 base runners in Rick Sutcliffe's 5 innings of pitching. They've had only 1 in Lancaster's 4 inning of pitching. 0-2. 1 out. Again a drive. He's swinging for it, and he keeps fouling him deep into the right field stand.
How about a changeup, Les? Just 1.
0-2 the count. Frank Cashin and his assistant don't look too happy, do they?
Al Harrison to his right. Not many smiles tonight for the Mets.
0-2. He went around. He went around. He asked for the appeal. And Jerry Crawford waves Johnson out on strike. Here's Strawberry. He's had 2 out of 2. Both singles. There's a strike over the outside corner.
Lancaster would pick up his 6th save, and probably none more important than this one. He's been brilliant tonight.
All ready? Strawberry. Rounded a single to left in the second. Single to left. There's a drive in the right field. Cubs win. Cubs win. The Cubs win the first game here in New York, defeating the New York Mets by the score of 7-3. Here are the standings right up to date. The Cubs lead St. Louis by a game and a half, which is where they were before the game. They've increased their lead over Montreal to 4. They're now 4.5 ahead of New York. Good night's work here for the Chicago Cubs, and it's a happy game that you see down on the field right now. All right, we'll be back with the totals on the Cubs victory in a moment. The Budweiser play of the game happened in the 3rd inning after the Cubs had taken the 2-1 lead. Rick Rona was the batter, and he singled to center, driving in 2 more runs, making it a 3-run inning. Rick Rona's 2-run single, the Budweiser play of the game. There's Rick Rona, rookie catcher, and he's contributed some very big plays and big hits already. He now has 9 runs batted, and he's only been up a little while. All right, a great ball game. Wonderful relief pitching by Les Lancaster. He went 4 innings, allowed only 1 man to reach base. That was a single by Strawberry, and he was brilliant.
I think that's the story of the ball game. Don Zimmer, knowing how important this win was, decided to go for it tonight. Lancaster was supposed to start tomorrow. It won't be Lancaster. It'll probably be Wilson. He decided he needed this one, got as much as he could get out of Rick Sutcliffe. And, Harry, this was a well-played game.
I should say it was. We have to mention that you got to get breaks, and the Cubs got their share of the breaks, too, just as sometimes they don't get their share of the breaks. But today was a game when they had the same kind of Zimmer game that, and luck, you might say, where things happened for them. A hot shot at Salazar was deflected inadvertently to Dunston, who got a very big out on McReynolds at second base on the force out. And then the ground rule double by Howard Johnson, which would have tied the score, but it bounced in the stands, and it only drove in 1 run, the other man having to go to third. Those are just a couple of plays.
And we figured that it's got to be the offense to pick up a tired pitching staff, and it was the offense tonight, thanks to a couple of walks, a couple of key base hits, and Rick Rona starring in this ball game.
All right, the second game of the series tomorrow night. We'll be with you at 6:30 Chicago time. Now, here are the totals. For the victorious Cubs, it is 7 runs, 9 hits, no errors. Rick Sutcliffe, the winner. He now has won 14 and lost 11. The save, his 6th of the year, to Les Lancaster. For the New York Mets, 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors. The loser, David Cone. He now has won 12 and lost 7. Cone was 8-1 for this year at Shea Stadium. Now he's 8-2. He was 21-5 during his career at Shea Stadium. Now he's 21-6. Well, a great game, a big one, a mighty big one for the Cubs to win. Okay, speaking now for Steve Stone and Dwayne Stats, this is Harry Carey, wishing you all a very pleasant good evening from Shea Stadium, where the Cubs have beaten the Mets 7-3. See you tomorrow. So long, everybody. Stay tuned now for the news, which will follow immediately. Our next telecast will be tomorrow night at 6:30 Chicago time, when the Cubs take on the New York Mets for the final time this year, right here on Channel 9. Our executive producer director, Arnie Harris. The final score, the Cubs 7 and the Mets 3. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Harry Carey, so long, everybody.